We're going to begin the third and final day of our conference, and we're going to start our next sessions at 1 o'clock. And last night we had our math bowl, and I'm going to post it with a bunch of trivia questions. And but I asked the group at the math bowl this one, and it's a pun. And I've seen it and used it for years. I didn't get it myself the first time, but the question is, where do you weigh a pie? So this is kind of like a pie joke, all right? So I'm going to not ask you to hold off putting your answer in the chat. And so one of the hints is that it's a Harold Arlen song. And for many of you, that's not a hint at all because you don't know who Harold Arlen is. But if you knew the songs that Harold Arlen wrote, you'd go, well, that's the guy that wrote them. You know, everybody would think it's a Gershwin or Rodgers and Hammerstein. But Arlen wrote an enormous amount of popular music. So he wrote this song, which answers this question. And it is regarded as one of the most beautiful songs of the 20th century by many, many, many people because of its harmonies and because of its first measure, which jumps an octave. The first note jumps up an octave to the next one, which was very rare. So where do you weigh a pie? Judy Garland sang it in a movie. I'm giving you more and more hints as to where do you weigh a pie, and you're probably wondering, what has Judy Garland got to do with weighing a pie? Well, you know, we'll see here. The movie was The Wizard of Oz, okay? I'm going to open up and ask, where do you weigh a pie? The hint is that it's a Harold Arlen movie. Judy Garland sang it in The Wizard of Oz. Does anybody know where you weigh a pie? And if you want to put it in the chat, give it a try. Nobody's putting anything in there? Yes? Or you want to speak it out? We have one in the chat.
You told me last night after the math ball, and it still took me till the second hint today to remember.
That's right. Jean Marie says at a pie shop or a bakery, and I think that's a very practical, but it's not a groaner. You got to have a groaner, Jean Marie. You can't have something as practical as that. But Frank's right on it. Where do you weigh a pie? Somewhere over the rainbow. And of course, the famous lyric is somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And now it's appropriate to groan, okay? Anyway, so much for humor at this hour. at this. So Frank got it. Okay, this is good. I think it's a complex one. I kind of like it, but anyway. So let's just talk about not saving that, and we'll talk about. So this is our last afternoon. We have a number of sessions. We've had great sessions. And if you haven't been able to attend some of them, either because you went to another one or as Joe was doing, giving saxophone lessons to his grandson, lots of different things could have happened. We have some things going on. We have Anuj, one of our keynotes from yesterday, giving a talk towards the end. We also have a special talk from Dina Gagovich, who is retiring from a community college, and she'll be talking about her journey from electrical engineer to teaching DEQ with Candy. We have a lot of sample classes. We have some outreach efforts into community and sustainability. We have another talk on the Prison Math Project, how to get started, and some talks on special topics. I'm asking, and I'll send this out, any of the presenters to send the slides directly to the director so we can post them. And we'll be posting the videos of the talks, not of the breakout sessions and not of the groaners in the math bowl. Once we get those all transcribed, the young woman who does that work for us normally recently just got engaged, and she's planning weddings, and but she's going to fit this in. She was engaged on the balcony of a hotel overlooking the Taj Mahal in India. How's that for a little romance, okay? Anyway, the bottom line is Sammy Kandarian gave a talk on a passion of his wiki model, which many of you probably hadn't seen, but it's a marvelous free approach to parameter estimations and so forth. And we'll be featuring that kind of stuff in our new neighborhood in cubes as we move on. But he's upgraded it since yesterday. We're going to have a panel on authoring textbooks, how and why. And I had the question, what was I thinking when I agreed to order a textbook? But there are other people in the audience, and I'm going to ask them to give me information about their textbook, and we'll publish it on that conversation piece. Again, I want to thank the organizing committee, Wandi Ding, who is starting out organizing us and is facing a serious condition, medical condition, and is not with us, and our thoughts and prayers are with her. Yan Ping Ma, who organized the Gather meeting. We've never used that before, and she's been the backbone of doing that. She's spending the weekend writing an article as a lead author, which she didn't think she would be until 2 days ago. She's contacted 3 students, Bertram, Rachel, and Anna, who you may have met in some of the rooms yesterday, who've been helping us. And of course, Lee Noble, if you want to get to the analogy of the Wizard of Oz, he's the man behind the curtain, but we don't ignore him. Lee has been the backbone of SIMIODE and has been working tirelessly to make the conference work well. So I appreciate all of them. And I'm, of course, Brian Winkel, the guy who sits in here and watches the snow outside. We'll be posting the videos in 3 to 4 weeks. We want you to enjoy the rest of the conference. I think all of you have been quite courteous in not having your dogs bark and having a rock and roll from the garage band that's in your house playing while we're talking. We hope to see you next year at SIMIODE Expo 2024. By the way, that's not 2024 factorial. That's a long way away. We're just going to have it in 2024. And we'll be sending out a survey a day or so from now, asking you about what you thought of this conference and how we could improve it. But think about what you can share after you've heard people give talks and you say, yeah, I do something that's really cool like that, and I'd like to share that. So we've got a whole year to do that. And what I'm going to do now is, there he is, Carrie. I am in the main room and there are talks going on in room 1. These are special topics that you can include in a differential equation course. And Carrie's going to be talking to us about network diagrams. In room 1, Kurt Bryan's going to be talking about cruise control, sort of optimal control notions. And Boyan Kostadinov is going to be talking in room 2 about a stationary target firing a projectile. There are a lot of special topics that you can do in differential equation courses. There's a whole approach to start the differential equation course with Laplace transforms. You can find that. And when I went to the talks from these folks, I thought, are you kidding me? You know, most of us can't even get to Laplace transforms, but they start off with that. And they're not necessarily engineering oriented where they want to live in the S domain, the frequency domain, but it's just an interesting approach. So there are interesting topics that you can bring in mainstream or just as a project for students. And then there are ways you can twist the course around and move it all around depending upon your culture at your school and whether you're in a multi-section. You know, sometimes you don't have the freedom.